Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Cardiff City World. My name is Si. Welcome to the Breakdown Podcast. It is Sunday, and just before we get into it all, it is, of course, St. David's Day. Happy St. David's Day to everybody. And I wanted to also just have a quiet shout out to all the men and women who are serving in the armed forces around the world, particularly the Welsh ones on St. David's Day. I'm sure their families and their friends and everyone, they miss them greatly. So it's with big thanks to them, of course. And let's get into what you all came to talk about. And that is the Premier League, right? No. We're going to talk Cardiff City. We're going to break down yesterday. We're going to look ahead to Lincoln. And, of course, we're going to talk about our young players and the absolute ridiculous quality that they've shown just throughout the season. And honestly, technical ability aside, like work rate aside, just desire to play for the club, all that stuff aside, I've got to say, right, the mentality of this squad, when you compare it to where we were even 12 months ago, like, it's not even night and day. It's like a whole different football team. And I understand that a lot of the players have moved on, but even the players who are still there from last year, that the attitude, the energy, the mentality is just different. And every time we've had a bad performance this year, or a bad result, or something just hasn't quite gone our way, whether it's been really, really bad, which I think last week was bad, defensively at least, the reaction has been just unbelievable. But I said last week on the breakdown and a few other shows, like, football is so built on momentum during games and small moments. Like, there was a moment at 0-0 and their striker's through, and you're thinking he's going to get a shot off. And I think he's like on the corner of the 6-yard box. And Dylan Lawler's followed him all the way back and he times this sliding block to absolute perfection, and it goes over the bar for a corner. That goal goes in. That game is completely different, because on the back of a ropey performance against Plymouth at the back, you're 1-0 down, and then it's a whole different thing. And I think, like Dylan's goals is just ridiculous, like filthy, just outrageous. His assist, by the way, was just as good. But, like, that block was so important, so important. I think, like, the quality, the timing of it, everything about it was, I think that really deserved a special mention. And I've got to say, it's not just Dylan Lawler, like, the quality, like the spine of our team yesterday. Obviously, you've got Nathan Trott, who's a bit more experienced, and you've got Gabe Arshall, who's sort of mid to late 20s, is very experienced. And then you've got Dylan Lawler, just turned 20. Alex Robertson, I think, is 23. You got the experience of Ryan Wintle, who I'm going to get to later, but he is the glue that pulls it all together. Then you've got Joel Colwell, who's like 19, 20. Ruben Colwell, 22, 23. And then it's just that spine of youth, energy, technical ability. Like, realistically, these players could play for the Cardiff City for the next 10 years. Logically, they could play for the club for the next 10 years. Realistically, they probably won't, because they'll probably get snapped up by bigger clubs in some cases. But, like, the foundations that have been set shouldn't be undersold. But I think as well, like I talked about before, the importance of, when the club have been needed to be called out, we've called them out, and we've said or criticized, or, I created a whole series on what I thought they needed to do away from the pitch to rebuild the football club. If you haven't seen it, go watch it in the summer. It's from the summer just gone, called Rebuilding Cardiff City. And some of the things that were talked about in that series have actually been implemented. Now, by all means, I'm not saying that's got anything to do with with me or the channel. I'm not. What I'm saying is, though, it needed to be done. They recognised it. But it's all very well and good having a load of quality first team players under 23, 24, and then having a load of academy players all come through who are ready to play first team football. But what you've got to do then is you've got to find a manager who is first and foremost willing to play them, willing to put his faith in young players. Then you have to find a manager who's willing to do that, but also is a good enough manager and good enough coaching team with him to get the best out of them week after week after week, and sprinkle in a little bit of experience with them and let them do their thing. And then on top of that, a manager will be able to pick the right times to take them out with the limelight a little bit, or take them, give them a bit of a rest, put the experience in, still win football matches, and then bring those young players back at the right time. And I think the club deserves credit because they got Brian Barry Murphy in, who is absolutely, without a shadow of the doubt, the right person at the right time. I described it as the perfect storm on various podcasts I've done, and it is the perfect storm. Brian Barry Murphy and what Cardiff needed and had at the club at this time was the perfect storm. And again, I was having a conversation with a journalist a few weeks back. We were just having a coffee and we were talking, and he was under the impression that, over Christmas, just after Christmas, the experienced players were going to come in, get through a very difficult period, but come sort of mid-February, end of February, all the young players were coming back in, and we'd look very much like the team sheets we saw at the start of the season, with a couple of exceptions or whatever. And I wasn't so sure because the experienced players had done such a good job sort of in that period, particularly away from home in some difficult games. And I'm just absolutely thrilled with everything which is going on at this football club at the moment. And I thought yesterday in particular, I thought we were just phenomenal. From top to bottom, I thought we were so good. There's little things you could pick at. Like there was a moment when Nathan Trott rolled it to Gabe Osho in the first half, and Gabe had a striker like right on his back. He didn't know he was there, but Trott only was there. And I like that's little mistakes like that can cost you. Small moments. We got away with it, and then from that moment on, pretty much, I thought. I was speaking to, I spoke to a load of people yesterday, and thank you so much, by the way, to everybody who came and said hello. Too many to mention, just so many people. It was humbling, and it was cool, and it was fun. But I was speaking to Ben from View from the Ninian at half time, and we both sort of agreed that we just thought we were a little bit sloppy in possession, but we were just far too good for Doncaster. And I sort of made the comment that in the last couple of games, I felt we were a little bit sloppy in possession, and you just feel like if we could just get that sorted, we're going to fly. And second half, we were not sloppy and we were phenomenal. But the quality of that first goal and by the way, when I say sloppy, we weren't bad, we were decent, but we have the ability and we are better than that in possession. And it was, it was just great to see. And I just thought, particularly, Dylan Lawler, Alex Robertson, and Ruben were just on a different stratosphere to everybody else on the pitch, and anything which Doncaster had. They just could not cope with any of those three players. And I thought Joel was excellent, mine as well. I mentioned this I don't know if it was the player ratings or 5 things, but Joel Caldwell yesterday, I thought was excellent. But it probably wasn't as obviously excellent as he has been in recent weeks. Like the recent weeks, Joel has just been on another level. He's been absolutely outrageous. And yesterday, I just thought it wasn't that he was particularly worse. I thought he was still very effective and really, really good. And he gives you so much. I just thought that those 3 I mentioned were just on a different level. Same with Tanner, by the way. Heard a few people sort of saying, he looked off it today. Maybe he needs a break, blah, blah, blah. I thought Tanner was really good yesterday. But what he did is created space for other people a lot with his just because every time he got the ball, he was so direct. They had to double up on him, and then Perry would go there, and then suddenly Ruben would just have loads of space to turn and drive, and we were good. We could have scored a load of goals, like even more than we did. Yeah, I thought Scanlon looked really sharp, and again, I see people kind of criticizing Joel Bagan, and I don't really understand it. Like, I thought defensively he was very good. I thought attacking wise, he didn't get forward as much as we've probably seen him recently, which I don't mind away from home. But I also think Joel needs a break. Like, I do think he needs a week off. Now, I know we haven't got a game till next Saturday. It'll be interesting because I thought Scanlon looked really sharp and really, he's so quick. And even if a winger does get half a yard at him or gets past him briefly, he's back on him so quickly. So, yeah, it'd be interesting what we do with the team next week because we have so many options, like so many options. You look at the team which started yesterday. No, in that starting 11, no Omari Kellyman, who's been easily one of our best players for probably the last couple of months. No Chris Willock, who by and large has been excellent this season, and particularly in that sort of period after Christmas, he was very good. Yusuf Salic not in the squad. Will Fish on the bench, who's been one of the best defenders in the league all season. Isaac Davis not in there. Like, so many, like when all those players are back, so many options, and obviously we're not playing a keeper on the bench, which gives me a bit of anxiety. But on the other hand, you're trying to get as many options for the manager on the bench as possible. Now, Lincoln will be another thing next week. They're going to be physical and they're going to look to be set pieces. And I was speaking to someone yesterday. I forget who it was. I apologize to you greatly because I can't remember who it was who said it to me. But they were saying next week against Lincoln, we should bring the advertising hoardings like half a yard closer to the pitch. The ball boys half a yard closer to the pitch. Make it really crammed so they can't get those long throws in. Everyone else does those types of things. Like, why shouldn't we? However, I will say it is my personal opinion, my honest opinion, and this might come back and bite me on the ass, and I'm all right with it because I believe in this manager and this team so much. But I believe that if we just go play our game and we're at the top of our game and the team has the right balance in selection, we will have too much for Lincoln. And if it's a close game, we will have too much for them on the bench. I believe that we have so much quality that I just think that we can beat them. But it'll be interesting. In regards to Mari Kellyman, so I heard two versions of this yesterday, like not anything behind the scenes type thing. Like someone told me, who might know, I suppose, that he just had a bit of a knock. And then someone else told me that he was just rested. I don't know. I'll find out over the next couple of days. I'll have a little nose about and see. But I'm expecting him to be in the squad next week. And if you ask me, do I think Isaac will be in and around the squad or available for selection next week? I would say yes. I personally, and this is not based on, I want to be very clear about this. This is not based on anything I've heard, anything I've been told by anyone. This is purely a little hunch, a little guess on my opinion. But I believe Yusuf Salic will be on the bench next week. That's just a guess. And I think that gives you such a lift, I think, psychologically for Lincoln. It's a real negative as well. So my thing with the teams and how they view us, they all have been impressed with the way we play, right? I understand that. But the two players that other teams fear, like if you say which Cardiff player scares you or which Cardiff player you're most worried about doing damage to you, they will all say Yusuf Salic or Ruben Colwell. And I think if you can get Yusuf on the bench next week and he's fit and he's healthy, I think psychologically that gives you a massive advantage and a massive lift. And I also think if it's 0-0, 1-1 with 10 minutes to go and you can get 10 minutes out of him, what a player to bring on, by the way. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how far off he is. The last thing I had heard was he was he was on grass, but he wasn't training with a team. However, when Ruben was injured, I got told he was on grass, but he wasn't training with the team, and then he was in the squad the following week. So these things are sometimes like a little bit behind. The crowd is going to be massive next week, like massive. I wish we could bottle up the away fans' atmosphere for all the away games and take that to the Cardiff City stadiums, because the away fans, they just do not stop singing. It is just constant. There's no negativity. There's no moaning and groaning. It is just, it's like, it's all about just the team and doing the best. I haven't got a mouse mat and I can't move my mouse, is why I keep fiddling. So I do apologize. Someone suggests something that you can use as a mouse mat. Should we use? Excuse me. I've forgotten what I was saying now. Let's use Willie Boland's face. Willie Boland there. What a beautiful man. That was such a good live event, by the way, if I do say so myself. I'm still, I think I mentioned this on a video. We're still hoping to announce a really big live event very, very soon. It's just one of those things. Just trying to work out a date at the moment. We had a date and then it all looked good and then we had to pull it out. So, yeah, but then equally, it was on my wedding anniversary as well, so I wasn't too disappointed. And by the way, Kean Ashford again yesterday. Again, like you heard with Ashford, I saw people in the first half. Like I had a little look at social media at half time, and people saying like, "Oh, he's got to come off. He's no good. He's not strong enough." And I'm like, I sometimes wonder if people are watching a different game. Or, you know, in yesterday's case, I thought, oh, maybe he just looks different on TV to what it looks like in the ground. But he works so hard and he's just up and down. He does so much defensive work. But on the ball, he's so clever. And what he does, what Kean does, like majestically, is create space for other people. He's so clever at picking a time to drift into the number 10 position. And then Bagan or even Robertson will circle around at the outside and would create that space. And I tell you something, picking that team next week is going to be mental, absolutely mental. Yeah, Reese just saying there about let's encourage as many people to get down there as possible next week. Yeah, unfortunately, it's on Sky, innit? So people tend to watch it on Sky, sadly, and it's a lunchtime kickoff. But I really I put a part of the vlog I clipped up earlier, and I said, like, please, if you're a Cardiff City fan, just get down the stadium next week, support this gifted team. It's a massive, huge game, and yeah, it's just great stuff. Matt, if you're still in the chat, mate, is there any chance that you can jump in and chuck some comments on the screen for me? Because I can't. My mouse is not working, so I can't do anything. If you can't, don't worry about it. I'll try and just grab them as they're coming through. But yeah, let me know what were your thoughts on yesterday? Like, honestly, like, how good do you think Cardiff were? And if you're picking a team now, would you go with Lawler, Robertson, Joel, Ruben, like Kellyman? Like, would you go with the younger players with just Wintle, like we did at the start of the season? Would you keep Osho alongside Lawler? I thought Osho, the interesting thing about Osho yesterday, right, was he was kind of just there. Like he didn't draw a load of attention to himself. And I like that. Like, he just quietly went about his business, experienced player alongside a young player. The young player takes all the plaudits, and of course he will with the goal he scored and the assist. But like the way Osho just went about his business, I thought was really, really great. And yeah, it was just a pleasure. And I really thought Osho, I think I mentioned a couple of weeks back, like Osho and yeah, mate, if you can circle right back to the start of the comments, because I haven't done any, and kind of just work through them, if that's okay, mate, please. Yeah. Osho, I just thought he was just quietly went about his business, and I thought he was really, really good. And I kind of like that partner. But I'm a Will Fish stan, innit? I'm all about Will Fish. I think he's been one of the best defenders in the league this year, not just out of us, but everyone. And I really believe that Osho and Lawler is a great partnership, but Fish and Lawler, mate. JT says, still think we made a mistake signing Tyra instead of a striker in January. He's probably regretting the move. I was concerned before kickoff with no Kellyman, Davis, Salic to be in the 18. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult not to be concerned when you're missing that standard of player. But I don't think, like, with that, like, you think about like what we've done with no Salic in the side, and Robinson's barely started. We have scored so many goals. So I don't think there was a need, even with hindsight, I don't think there was a need for a striker. Salic will be back. Robinson will hopefully go on a streak now, like he normally does, score 5 and 5. You've got like Ruben's back. You've got Kellyman. I thought we were so fluid yesterday, like unreal. Graham says, I need a cup full of Joel's energy on, mate. Don't we all? I am flagging today after it was a long ass day yesterday. A lot of driving, but it was so worth it. It was my boy's first away game as well. But I've got he's not watching, so I can say this. We got him he got a program, and I've already arranged to get that all signed, and he's having his car. I'm getting the Cardiff City World shirt signed for him by the team, and going to frame it with a program for him. As a nice little surprise. So that'd be cool. Mark Cox, great to meet you yesterday, Mark. Thank you so much for saying hello as well. Really appreciate you, my friend. If Van Dijk or a top Premier defender scored a goal like Lola, it'd be all over the news. Yeah, I mean, in fairness, Sky Sports did retweet it and stuff, but yeah, people from other clubs are always going, well, the first thing they say, oh, look at the terrible defending. But like, you're talking about a 19, 20-year-old picked up the ball on the edge of his own box and literally dribbled the length of the pitch and then just stroked it in the bottom corner. I don't care about the defending. This is like professional football. It's not Sunday league. It's not non-league. It's like professional football. And he just did a Maradona against England. Like, it's just incredible. And it's not the first time he's done it this season. Dan, yes, mate, how are you? Says, I'm going to sing the praises of Alex Robertson again. What a footballer he is. Movement for his goal was top class finish as well. Yeah, mate, you're speaking to the converted. He is, he's unreal. He's another one, mate. Like, for me, him, Lawler, and the Colwell brothers, if they're still here, come the start of next year, all of them, I'll be absolutely ecstatic because I think realistically they're all probably too good for League, certainly too good for League One. Martin says, our organisation was superb yesterday, provided the backbone for the performance, confidence gained from having a plan. Yeah, BBM got the balance right, and I will use that as the opportunity actually to sing the praises of Ryan Wintle, because look, Alex Robertson is an unbelievable footballer. Ruben Colwell just come back from injury and just looks electric. Joel Colwell has been sensational since he came back into the starting 11. Dylan Lawler was just outrageous yesterday, defensively and on the ball. But Ryan Wintle's the one. He's the glue. He's the one that allows, and Tanner and Ashford, and Wintle is the one that allows all of them to do their thing. And we saw last week, not that it falls apart without him, because I do think there's a way you can set up a structure without him and have Robertson in the six for certain games. But by and large, this season, we absolutely need Ryan Wintle in there to allow Alex Robertson to be at his best, which in my opinion is a box-to-box 8, and Joel Colwell because when you've got that double pivot of those two, it allows you, if you've got Joel in the team, you can give Joel free reign to press and literally just be everywhere. And he is everywhere. And then when you get Ruben in there as well, it's scary good. And we're going to get to a point, like, how can we get into everyone now? Like, how do we get everyone in the side? Graham says, 2 lads who ran on at will ban City these days. So I have no idea if they will or not. Interestingly, the one who went on and got taken off he was literally sat next to us, and he'd had a few beers, let's say. And when we scored, he ran on the pitch. They didn't arrest him though. They just chucked him back in the away end. Whether that'll be the end of it, I don't know. There was I will say this. Few people have messaged me about a couple of incidents towards staff in terms of Cardiff City. Someone from the Disabled Supporters Association was called an offensive name, an unacceptable name in 2026, and apparently was physically struck as well. That's really sad to hear. Apart from anything, it's just the sheer amount of work that these guys do, to get supporters to away games and stuff. But this particular fella, like, he flipping, works for the Disabled Supporters Association, and I just think, I'm all for having a drink and a crack and having a great away day. And if you're not driving, you can have a good old drink all day and have a time of your life. But I still think you've got to act a certain way. And that also, that includes, look, I get it. People are young and they do stuff. But if you're going to go on the pitch, you're asking for a lengthy ban from football matches. And, you don't want that at the end of the day. Like, I want to see these youngsters go into home and away and having the time of their life and watching Cardiff City be successful, not paying a price for having one too many drinks and doing things out of character or doing things that they shouldn't be. So yeah, that was took a little edge off it, but these things are few and far between, thankfully. Gavin says we've got 6 games in March. That's potentially 18 points on top of the 72. And that's 90 points on the board by April the 1st. Wow. I think I said last week, Gav, if we win if we'd won 6 of our last 12, Bolton, Stockport, etc., would literally have to win pretty much 11 out of 12 games to even get close. And that's meaning we'd have to lose the other 6 probably as well. So, yeah, look, we've got one foot there, but I really, I want to push on now. And I want that. If we go on another run like we have done previously after we've lost a game of even just 5 or 6 unbeaten, we'll pretty much be there. And I really believe if we can put on make a statement next week and, we're going to be really secure, shall we say. A little word, by the way, for Bolton fans. Got a feel for them. There was a Bolton fan on the EFL debate this week hosting it. And when I was on there, and he did say, we're due to give someone a real slapping. We've been playing well. We just haven't been putting our chances away. And he said, what we need is a big result, like beating someone 4-5. And then we'll kind of go on a bit of a charge and chase the, Cardiff and Lincoln. And I just wondered what it would be like to, win 5-1, go and check the results after the game. And how demoralizing it must be to see Lincoln and Cardiff both won 4-0 again. Must be demoralizing, right? I get frustrated with Lincoln. They just keep flipping winning. Leave us alone, eh? But I was so pleased for Callum Robinson as well. Matthew says, will games be rearranged due to the Welsh games? Yeah, league games will, I believe. I think it was just the Virtue Trophy games weren't getting rearranged. I don't think the league games will be. I hope not, mate, because we'll be without, in my opinion, Lawler, both Colwells, Kepaki out, and missing one of the Isaac Davis will all be in the Welsh squad. So, in my opinion, that's going to be a problem, isn't it? Enjoy your fishing. Keith, Lincoln fan, should be a great atmosphere. 3,000 Lincoln fans coming, no matter the result. I don't think it'll stop either yourselves or us going up. No, I agree with that, mate. I think the gap's too big, and I think both teams have got not only enough quality, but I think we'll win our home games, both of us, or most of them. And I think the wheels would have to come off in spectacular fashion for both teams for either team to drop out. But until it's done, isn't it? Like, mathematically, you got to just keep going. JT says Colwell's wasted at false 9. I hope whoever the owner is splashes out on a 9 in the summer. You must spend to compete in the Championship, or you'll get left behind. I disagree about the Colwell bit. I thought he played that to an absolute T yesterday. What you want from a false nine, dropping in deep, and then other people running behind. That's the point of it. I agree. We need a striker in the summer. 100%. I actually think this might be Cam Robinson's last season at the club. I don't know. It's not based on any info. Just that you'd imagine he'd want to play more football. But in terms of the Championship, I agree we need to strengthen. I don't believe we need to go and buy 8-9 players. Like, that'll be more negative than positive. I think we've got a great core and a great base. We need to address a couple of issues and strengthen a couple of issues. I think we need to address a couple of issues and then strengthen the squad so that we've got the same, like the amount of quality that we've got for League One now. I want to have that much quality on the bench in the Championship in terms of that level, so the manager can go, right, whatever this is, we're drawing, we need a goal, or whatever, we need to shut shop, whatever, we need to change tactics, change shape. He has got all the options on the bench. And I believe that Vincent Tan, I think they'll back this manager. I think they know what they've got. And I think you can tell that by the way they're trying to build bridges with the fans, because they know that this could be the start of something special. Now, whether they follow through with it, that'll be the question, because that's always, historically been the problem with the club. They have good ideas to build bridges with fans, but they don't follow them through. But I believe that this is this is the start of something special. Should be. Lincoln appear to score from set pieces every week, mate. Yeah, they base their game plan on Arsenal, I think. No, look, mate, at the end of the day, right, play to your strengths, innit? But I do agree, if I'm Brian Barry Murphy this week, I'm drilling us on long throws and corners a lot. But equally, as I said at the start of the show, I believe that we have enough quality to win that football match. So you got to be aware of what their strengths are and be prepared for them. But I also don't think we should be worrying too much about the opposition. But like Lincoln had just been on this unbelievable run. It's got to end at some point. Paul says, I'd go with a winning side, but Kellyman comes in the false nine. For me, who gets dropped is difficult. I thought Lawler was good with Osho, but saying that, all our defenders have been brilliant when called up. Yeah, I think my one concern is that because of the nature of the game, both in terms of the stature of it, the top v second, the pressure, but also because Lincoln are quite physical and set pieces and stuff. I do worry that he might revert to Chambers and Osho again. Excuse me, Chambers and Osho again. Like, for me, it's got to be either Lawler and Osho or Lawler and Fish. That's just my opinion, though. People might disagree. Sue says, I'm hoping Fish starts. Would like to see both Colwells, Robertson with Kellyman. If Winter's fit, first name on the team sheet, though. So how do you fit in both Colwells, Robertson and Kellyman then? I'm interested. Does Kellyman go out wide? Do you go super aggressive with a box midfield, 2 10s? There's ways to do it. If you play Scanlon on the left, you could do a box midfield. But you sacrifice a bit of shape, and I don't know if this is the game for it. But yeah. Sue says, I just wish we could find a way to make Fish Welsh, get him in a Welsh squad. When you speak to him, he is not. He's got a proper northern accent. I asked him how his knee was when I spoke to him, though, and he said it's really good. So that was good to hear. Jamie says, think Lincoln's centre-backs did a great job on Salic in the reverse fixture. Would like to see Colwell and Kellyman both start. Yeah, mate, do you know what I think would work particularly well? Is Ruben, and I don't know if Ruben and you want Ruben and Kellyman both kind of dropping in, and then Joel and Alex going the other way. It's difficult. Like, you guys, I'm struggling to get all 4 in a central area, really, because Alex Robertson and Wintle are going to play. The reason I like this false 9 with these players is because it drags teams out of position. And like you said, Lincoln did a great job on Salic in the first game. And I think having a Kellyman or a Ruben or a Joel as a false nine, you drag the centre backs out of position, and then you get like a run like Robertson in behind. And as long as you've got the players to find those runs, it works to a T. And you can also use the white players as well. Sue says Ollie seems to have a great understanding with Kellyman and Ruben. Yeah. Oh, well, he's long since had that with Ruben, haven't he? But Kellyman as well. And I think like if you can get Ruben and Kellyman in the central areas, for me, that's the key, because the way the manager wants to play with the one touches and the rotations, if you get those two on the same wavelength, I think that is a really scary prospect for the opposition, because it's just they're so talented at like both of them. Enjoy your fishing. Lincoln, unfortunately for us, Jack Morland went off injured yesterday. Don't know how bad it is yet. Yeah, so I'm doing some content with Jake from the EFL debate, and I've forgotten the name of his podcast. I apologize, Jake. He's got a Lincoln podcast. We're filming a load of content on Wednesday, which is going out then in the end of the week, which is going to be like a big build up to the game. So it's going to be some really interesting stuff. We've got Gabe Sutton coming in to kind of host a debate between the two of us. We're going to obviously preview the game. We're going to talk about different aspects of the game. So yeah, listen, Cardiff City World is the best place for your build up to all Cardiff City games, post-match reactions. Like, it's the place to be. I'm not just saying that. Freddie Draper and Moylan could be out. Okay. But I can't wait. And I thought the Doncaster fans were excellent yesterday as well. They were really, they enjoyed the banter back and forth. But then, like, they're so Fatty, who was having a load of banter. I had a load of messages halfway towards the end of the game saying, what the hell's going on in the away end? Like, because he was just constant. And that guy is actually on the end of my vlog. You can just see him walking past. He came into the away end. They let him in, and he took it in good nature. Yeah, Lawler's it's nothing to be concerned with, that injury. Just probably more likely. What did he say? Like he hasn't played for a while. Aches and pains. It was very much a precaution to protect him ahead of a big game next week, innit? Jonathan, evening mate, says even if we beat Lincoln on the weekend, they could still run us close or even win it unless we derail all their confidence in that one game. Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Of course, it's a big game. Of course, it's a massive game. It's top v second. Both have been like on these incredible runs, but it's just there's still a long way. There's still 10 games to go after that game. We've still got a game in hand on Bolton as well, haven't we? I believe. I can't remember. Sure we have, though. Cardiff City fan, hiya mate, it says, do we think we are bad at defending set pieces? Because if we don't defend them properly, we'll concede 2-3. So we definitely had a bit of an issue with set pieces earlier in the season. But I would say from around Christmas time, you could see that we'd been drilling them and like we improved massively. The Plymouth game was the first game in a while where we looked shaky from set pieces. And the good thing is, all right, Doncaster weren't great yesterday. You can say that. But we did defend set pieces very, very well. So, that's obviously the main issue, isn't it? I suppose is what you say. I can't. My screen's gone off. There we go. Yeah. Right. Ryan says, interested. Dalman spent a lot of time with BBM in the week planning for the championship and hopefully get him tied down to a longer contract. Yeah. Mehmet was a big proponent of BBM in the summer. Once BBM had done his interview, he was keen and was a part of like smoothing certain aspects over. Did a real good job of that. And look, they know they're like, then as stupid as people think they are, and perhaps when it comes to football decisions, they haven't always got them right, shall we say? They know they're on to a good thing. They know what has happened this season has been special, and they know the importance of making sure BBM doesn't get poached. And they also know the importance of tying down these young players so they can't go be sold for cheap from underneath the manager. So if they do go, they go for a price that's, right and correct. And, everyone's got a price. But Enjoy Your Fishing says, let's have a draw, shake hands, go to the pub afterwards, wish each other well in the championship. I do want to win the league, though. That's the problem. But that's because I'm like I explained this before, but I'll explain it again. Like, I do really want to win the league because my son has not experienced that, like that element of Cardiff, like winning a trophy and getting promoted, because obviously he was not born. So I kind of really want him to experience that, but I also want to experience it with him. Mark says, anyone think the ref was Saturday was decent? Well, he was certainly better than what we've seen this season. Oh, excuse me. So earlier on, I posted the bit on the vlog where I described Dylan Lawler's performance, and it was right after the game. I dropped some expletives. Got a bit carried away, which is, look, this is why I don't do the post-match stuff. Other than the only ones I do is the ones in a professional capacity for Dragon Sports and stuff like that. But I did get a message from a lady earlier who felt that the language was unneeded. So I will apologize if anyone was offended. It was in the moment and it was emotional and stuff like that. But, we all love Cardiff in it and we're all passionate about it. And I like to think that I can get my point across without swearing. But sometimes you get lost in the moment, innit? Jeff says, I'm bringing over a box of BBM's favourite tea on Saturday. Barry's tea from Cork. What time does he arrive before a match? I think about 12:30, mate, but I don't know that for sure. I can find out for you, though. And I can probably help you get them to him as well, if you would like. Just send me a message. Sue says, our unbeaten run, our home unbeaten run versus their unbeaten run, the atmosphere should be electric. It absolutely should. And I really can you imagine now, Saturday, 12:30, top v seconds, there's like 2 points between us. If it was sold out like the Chelsea game, it would just be unbelievable. And I also think, from a sporting point of view, I think BBM and the Cardiff players will want to make a point from the first game, because we weren't great in that first game. Lincoln were probably deserved winners. And I think that those players and the manager will want to make a point of, showing who they really are. 1927 GB says, with Lincoln, you go with 10s, footballers with runners off them, use the big pitch at City to move the imps around. They have to fight, and then aerial battle. Don't play into the hands. Exactly that, mate. Exactly that. And, I look forward to the tactical showdown as we break it all down, like, tactically, and we look at it. But that's clearly one of the elements that I'll be looking at, is if we'll be better off going that route. And I believe we will. I believe it works really well for the players and the profile of players that we have now against most teams. It doesn't always work, but I think generally, as long as you've got Joel Colwell, Alex Robertson making runs that break lines when the players drop deep, when the false nine drops deep, or the wingers going in behind. Kean Ashford got in behind a couple of times yesterday as well. Like, it works really well with the players that we've got. And I think you add Scanlon in there, or Isaac. Remember, Isaac hasn't really played this system. He's been out for a few weeks, and he was on the bench before that, and then he was coming on up front. I think this system with the false nine really suits Isaac Davis, because Isaac can just slot in, come in off the left, get in behind, use his pace. Yeah, it was. I'm interested. I haven't had a chance to watch the whole game on in full on TV yet. I watched a bit of the first half earlier. I just ran out of time, but I'm looking forward to having a really good watch of it. But like people who watched it on TV, talk to me. Like how tactically, how good did you think we were yesterday? Like, did we move the ball quickly? Did we move it? Was there any elements of it that you'd like to see improved, or was it a very, very like? Because it felt like to me, and it's always different when you're watching away from home and you're like behind the goal, because it is what it is, isn't it? Christ the King, I know, mate, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But like, it is what it is, isn't it? I don't want to upset no one. That's my thing. Is like I'm not about that, but equally, come on. So the pitch was absolutely terrible. I got it on. I was going to see if I could put a photo up. I took a photo of the like from our where we were behind the goal in the corner, and like it's all even before the game, it was all like torn up, and I was just like Jesus. But that's what you've got to deal with, isn't it? Like that's what you've got to. Every week, every game is a different test of your tactics, your mentality, your concentration, and your application. And when you play on these types of pitches, it's a new test of your concentration because the ball's going to bobble over your foot. So your first touch has got to be even better than normal. Teams like Plymouth yesterday are going to be in your face and physical. You've got to deal with that. The atmosphere gets good, then the moments get nervy. But Lincoln have got to deal with that next week. And this is what I'm thinking. Like Lincoln is an interesting one because as a club and a team, they haven't been involved in this high pressure kind of title race situation. But they do have a couple of players like Adam Reach and a few others who have been involved in promotion run-ins. And those types of players are very, very important. You know, we've got a couple of players who've been involved in promotion and big games. Alex Robertson got promoted from League One with Portsmouth. He said he wants to do it again. But each game is a new test. And the hard thing sometimes when you're winning games like we have been is finding the repeated motivation to keep going and winning and doing that because you almost get a bit lax mentally. Now, luckily, we've not seen that whatsoever. There's not been a drop off at all. We've been really, really good all throughout. So I'm interested to see if we can maintain that. Sue says Scanlon's pace described as rapid by players off the bench against tired legs could be telling. Yeah, he is absolutely outrageously fast. I agree. I don't think he's got a full game in him as well. I think that might be one of the reasons why he hasn't started. Although I did wonder whether they would give him an hour yesterday and then take him off for Joel. I'm torn between it because I think for this particular, like Lincoln's such a big game. Joel Bagan has just been like 7 out of 10 week in, week out. Why would you risk someone who hasn't started a game for you yet in the big game? But from what I know about Scanlon and from what I've seen of him in little cameos, I wouldn't be worried if he starts. I think, particularly 1v1 defending, he's really good. I think there's been times recently Joel Bagan's looked a little bit tired. Reese Lasky says, it's daft that we sell out Chelsea but don't sell this game. It's sad, really. Yeah, it is sad, mate. I mean, all we can do is encourage people to come, spread the word about the type of football we're playing and the young players who are doing such a great job, the manager who's doing such a great job. I mean, it's all you can do in it is spread the word, encourage people to come down. Like, it's a massive game. And, you know, I got a friend who I won't name, don't want to stitch him up, but he gets really angry about it because he doesn't buy a season ticket, my mate. He goes pretty much every week, but he buys the tickets each week because of his job. And as he's ended up going, I don't think he's missed a home game this year. He might have missed one, But generally speaking, like, he goes to most games, but he doesn't buy a season ticket because he can't guarantee every game because of work. But when it comes around to the big games like Chelsea, he did struggle to get a ticket, and he gets frustrated then because he's like, oh, these people don't go and blah, blah, and then they turn up for the big games. But realistically, as a club, we need all these fans turning up week in, week out. And it was my hope. I'd be interested to know after the Chelsea game if there's been any uptake in attendances. So, like, did people come to the Chelsea game after we'd had a good start to the season, quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup, and then saw the way we played against Chelsea? I wonder what percentage of those who weren't coming before the Chelsea game then came after, if that makes sense. Be interesting to know if there's like any difference, like if any of those players, any of those fans started coming, more. Christ is King says he hasn't started because he's not there to replace anyone, just to keep the harmony. He's there to help, give people a rest when needed. Yeah, I think my thing was more, if you could give him a start yesterday, you could rest Joel for next week. And I think that would have been my thinking. But yeah, look, I was he's great backup, isn't he? Enjoy Fishing said we have 8 players in the squad who have promotion in their careers. Where we are very strong is off the ball, closing down space and knowing when to press. Yeah, I'm going to have a real deep dive into it tomorrow, probably afternoon. Once I finish up at the radio station, I'm going to go and watch a couple of Lincoln games and watch like extended highlights and stuff for the last few months. I did watch a game. What did I watch them against? Who did you play 2 weeks ago when you won 3-1 or 4-1? I think it was. I was really impressed with the wide players. Thought they were very, very dynamic, and they closed the space on the fullbacks really quickly. So a couple of times the fullback thought he had more time, and then he just lost it. And I think, like, we're so good on the ball, and I think the interesting thing is Lincoln are quite good at pressing selectively. They don't just do what some teams that just go like all out. They sort of press selectively. They wait for certain triggers, like wrong foot or heavy touch or whatever, facing the wrong way, facing closed way. So it'll be like a battle of who gets it right almost, because Cardiff will always back themselves to play themselves out of trouble, like in play through someone's press, and Lincoln will press. And then it becomes a little mini game within the game of, if we play through them, we get the desserts of that. And if they catch us out, they get the desserts of that. What I have noticed with Brian Barry Murphy, though, is yesterday, and he's done it once or twice at home, is when it is a big game or a good opponent, first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, when the ball goes back to the keeper, he goes quite direct, like into the try and hit the wingers, or try and hit the number 10 to feet or to their chest, which is a way, I guess, to make sure that they don't get caught up. Like, thank you, Matt. I really appreciate it, mate. I seem to be able to work it now just about, so I should be able to finish up. Thank you, mate. I appreciate you. Producer Matt in the house. Everyone say bye to Matt. Thank you, Matthew. Superstar Matthew Angel. Right. Last couple of comments. But, what do you reckon? Give me a prediction. Early prediction this is, before we go into the previews and the tactics and the, if this goes right and this goes right. Like, let me know how you feel Sunday night, 9:10. We've just given Doncaster an absolute tanning on their own yard, in their backyard. What do you think the score will be next Saturday between Cardiff City and Lincoln? And what is your starting 11 as of now today? What's your starting 11? Right, let's have a look at some of these comments. Last couple of comments. Okay. Do, 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 do. It's a big game against Lincoln, like on Saturday. It's one of them, but it's not like it's not going to decide the title. And like I said, I think ultimately the wheels would have to properly come off for either Lincoln or Cardiff to not make the playoffs. Like ultimately, it would probably have to be like a head loss of epic proportions by either team to not make the automatics. Sorry, I think I said playoffs then. Now, for me personally, I think it's one of them where I do think because Lincoln have been on such a long unbeaten run that it could be like a blow if we were to go and beat them comfortably. And I'm not saying that we will. I don't know what my prediction is yet. But say we to beat them 3-0, just as a hypothetical. It is how they bounce back from that, particularly if Bolton and Stockport and the chasing teams all made up points on them. Like that would be a new experience for them because they're on such a mad unbeaten run. And I think Lincoln deserves so much credit for the run they're on. Like it's absolutely incredible run. And I said at Christmas, I thought they were going to start fading away, and they just haven't. And on one hand, I'm like, all right, enough's enough now. Come on, time to fade away. But on the other hand, I admire it massively. I got a lot of time for Jake, the Lincoln fan from the EFL debate, and he got a Lincoln podcast. I get on really well with him. I enjoy doing content with him, and I'm looking forward to filming all that on Wednesday. If you guys have got any ideas for for Lincoln and Cardiff content, you have to get them to me, especially if you're a member. Get your suggestions to me before Wednesday morning, really. I'm going to film the mailbag and answer all those questions that got sent in tomorrow, and then I'll put it up Tuesday morning. I apologize it's late. Just with going to Doncaster. It was quite a late decision to go to Doncaster as well. So I wasn't going, and then I was, and then I wasn't. So, but yeah, thank you so much as always. But what it does mean is I probably won't film it until tomorrow. Well, I'm not filming it until tomorrow, probably after the radio show, maybe before. But if you do want to send any questions in for the members mailbag, you can send them to the email address, or you can DM or whatever. But you can ask questions about whatever you want to ask, like transfers, whatever, behind the scenes, Cardiff City World question, whatever, live event question, anything you want. But don't want to answer it, I won't, but I'll do my best to answer every single thing that you ask. Right then, let's go through some of these comments to finish us off. It's always I love doing these shows. I'm a bit annoyed. My son took my mouse to his girlfriend's, and I've got this mouse. Well, it's my missus's work mouse, and it's absolutely gash. Doesn't work, so I'm struggling along with it. Right, why are you all slanging Barnsley out for? What's going on? Mark says, I got a mate who buys every bit of merchandise, etc. But he goes to maybe two games a season. Yeah, mate. I think it's one of them. Look, I'm not gonna bemoan people who watch it on the TV. Like, I get it, but I wish we got the crowds that we could, because it would make such a difference. And I think particularly for this Lincoln game, but just generally, like, I think the way our crowds for League One have been pretty flipping good. Pretty sure we've got bigger average crowd than them lot down the road, which is not a surprise, even though they're in the Championship, because it's like apples and oranges, isn't it? It's like one's a big club and one's not. And I don't necessarily mean that in a derogatory way. It's just a fact of life. It's like chalk and cheese. It's like dirty and clean. Don't know what to tell you. Yeah, Reyes clearly stopped him, and Barnsley haven't got a great deal. That's right. So some of you guys put in some predictions, like I asked for next week. So these are early predictions, aren't they? Before we've got into the nuts and bolts of the game and the previews and stuff. So Jonathan says 2-1 Cardiff City. Jeff says 3-0 Cardiff City. Go on. Mouse is playing up again. Suze says 3-2 Cardiff City. 3-1 Mark. Andrew says Andrew says 1-1. Stupid mouse. Kevin, hiya mate, says 2-1 Cardiff. I wonder if the Lincoln fan who was in your earlier will put his prediction in. He'll be like the one person who thinks Lincoln will win in this chat or predicts it. And look, I'm not underestimating Lincoln by any means, but in my opinion, Cardiff City are the best team in the league, and I think if they play as well as they are able to play, they should win the football match. Well, that's handy. My mouse, I literally haven't got an arrow on my screen now, so looks like we'll be here for the rest of the night, ladies and gentlemen, because the mouse has just disappeared. Mouse in a house. So Andrew said 1-1. Kevin said 2-1. And then I was going to have a little look at some of the teams that people put in, but I can't. So bear with me for 2 seconds. I'm going to carry on talking. Obviously, we've got Barnsley, as some people rightly said, straight after the Lincoln game on Tuesday. And what we must do as well, by the way, is the result. If we win at Lincoln or we draw, we have to make sure that we then do the business on the Tuesday against Barnsley as well. There's no good beating Lincoln and then slipping up against Barnsley away from home. Be a difficult trip. So yeah, it's a big week next week, or Saturday to Tuesday. Like some big games. You might see two of me come on the screen briefly in a minute. Because I'm having to get on my phone because my mouse isn't working. So
second hour. So yeah, bear with me. I got to take me out.
Oh. Sorry, guys. I really apologize. It's because I don't have a mouse. Right. That should. He says it should be better. Right. I apologize, guys. I can't go into the comments. And I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much. I'll be back in the morning. Player ratings. I might do a live stream on my channel tomorrow. Keep the faith. Love you guys. Take it easy. This channel is powered by an incredible membership community on Cardiff City World and patreon.com/AcePodcastNation. Becoming a member unlocks exclusive rewards from early access to live event tickets, bonus content, and even the occasional inside transfer scoop when we get it. But more importantly, it allows us to bring you top quality Cardiff City content 7 days a week. Across those 7 days, we're talking match previews, exclusive interviews, instant match reactions, the breakdown podcast, tactical deep dives, the Spotlight series, Bluebirds Rewind, Academy Focus, and just so much more. Led by myself, backed by an army of passionate Cardiff City fans, this is content created by fans for fans. Balanced, professional, and 100% all about the club we all love. If you enjoy what we do, then join the community today and support what we are doing as we help to keep Cardiff City World flying high.